Very few movies have the privilege of having a lasting cultural impact on the world and us as people. There are the usual suspects like... But for myself personally, I don't think any other film was more important in history than Jaws.
You know, it seems like every few years there's some movie that comes along and it just changes everything in the movie business. You know, we have movies like Star Wars that showed off groundbreaking special effects that brought a whole new universe to explore. You had Psycho pioneering something new in the horror genre, which was the slasher era. And then you have something like Jaws that comes before Star Wars that just brought this new quality to film that I don't think had been seen up to that point.
For me, Jaws was probably the most terrifying thing I had ever seen when I first watched it. My first ventures into the horror genre were more of the tremors or just tiny bits of Krull. So when I first saw something like this, I never wanted to swim in anything again for a while.
You know, for what I have to say, I don't really want to repeat a lot of things that everyone else has said for a movie that's celebrating 50 years. I mean, everyone said the same things. The shark looks fake, the characters are amazing, the music, the kills, everyone said the exact same thing here. So hopefully I can add something new to the waters here.
For the movie, it's just so perfectly executed that you could replace the shark with any kind of animal, and I think it would still work really well. Take a bear, human, or even a moose maybe. The movie at its core would still work and be great. Don't show the killer until the last second so tension keeps building. Jaws is sort of what I like to call a slingshot movie. It's consistently being tugged back, ready to fire until about the hour and 20 mark. Then once the famous line is mentioned, it's fired off.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
That's what makes Jaws special. It's the tension you have throughout the whole movie. Nowadays with shark movies, we see the shark in the first 2 seconds and it just ruins the effect. It ruins the whole experience because filmmakers, they just have no self-control nowadays. They want to show the shark jumping out of the ocean and biting the guy in two. But it's simply not scary. Showing someone this will not have the same reaction as something like this. Even the book makes the mistake of telling just way too much about how the shark kills someone. Showing less and telling less is more scary. Our brains are going to create the illusion and map out the scenario more. It will make it more scary, violent, and deadly than anything a filmmaker could put to screen. We can imagine exactly what that shark does to a victim without ever seeing it. That's why to some, the first death in the film is the most violent and scary. There's no blood or shark, just the drowning screams of death. Even the book, in my opinion, goes way too far and in too much detail about how Chrissy's feeling the whole time she dies, or what the shark exactly does to her. I understand that it's a completely different medium of entertainment, but the movie does a better job of showing and not telling. For me personally, I think that the ending of it is the most horrific part of the kill, where she's just pulled under and you hear nothing but the sound of the buoy. That sends a chill down my spine every time. That's what the movie does better than the book. For the book, it goes into amazing detail about how people die or exactly what people are thinking during their demise or even how fast a death can happen. You can truly picture every detail that the book describes, but in the movie, it's just done so much better. Jaws is a story that fits the screen more than the pages of a novel. One thing that I appreciate the most about Jaws is just the lingering shots that Spielberg did with this movie. There's a lot of long takes and wide shots. The part where the mayor tells Brody that he's not closing the beaches, it's all done in one take. And usually when it comes to long takes like these with conversations, those can be the most boring. But the writing is just done so well that you never really notice this.
You yell shark. We've got a panic on our hands on the 4th of July.
Shots also come into play with the death of Alex Kittner. I love how for the majority of the scene, you're just wondering, who's next? We linger from one person to the next, and just like when Brody keeps his eyes off the ocean and we forget why we're even in this scene, it hits. The Kittner death is absolutely horrifying to this day. Seeing this part in IMAX for the 50th anniversary was terrifying. And that's not even the scariest death in the film for me. My personal scariest moment is this death. That shot of the shark looming under and just sucking the guy in IMAX specifically, this was incredible and just absolutely stunning with the new 4K transfer. Jaws has never been a movie to really scare me necessarily, but in a theater, this movie is just a whole other beast. The scary moments and the jump scares actually work. The whole time with the ending, I just felt like I was drenched with seawater and I needed to dry off immediately. If you ever get the chance to see this in theaters, especially on a massive screen, do it. It is a whole different experience than watching it at home. One thing that I love about Jaws 2 that no one really discusses is just how funny the movie is. Yes, the movie is mostly serious and scary when it needs to be, but it balances it out with some of the most odd and recognizable characters in any movie that has ever been released. There's so many random moments, like I love how when Hooper enters Brody's house and he just starts eating his food. Like dude, don't touch another man's food. Every moment between Brody and Hooper is gold in this movie.
Well, if we're looking for a shark, we're not going to find him on the land.
Yeah, but I'm not drunk enough to go out the boat.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
There's also just a bunch of random people on the island that Spielberg really lingers on, and it just makes Amity feel a lot more real. Like, I want to know what this guy's story is. What's Captain Quincy's story over here? That's why Jaws the movie is a lot better than the book, in my opinion. The movie does a wonderful job at trimming the fat of the book and expanding upon where it's needed. For example, the mayor in the book has ties to the mafia and has a side real estate business, and it just kind of gets messy in the novel, while in the movie he just wants the town to boom with business. It's the exact same information essentially, but the movie has all the fat trimmed. Same goes for another storyline that's cut completely, where Matt Hooper and Ellen Brody have an affair, and it's just unnecessary. It adds nothing to the story besides tension between Matt and Martin between the two hating each other, and it comes to a rise later in the novel on the boat. While in the movie they're more friends throughout, and then near the end the tension starts to come little by little just due to the shark and the situation, which is 1,000 times better in my opinion. Jaws I'd like to point to as well as a movie that started my love for the behind the scenes as well. I remember that the version that I grew up with was the 25th anniversary VHS edition that came with the Shark is Still Working documentary. I loved this so much, and I even watched it more than the movie itself. This will always be the definitive Jaws documentary. Even though the new Jaws at 50 doc did have some new cool insight, I will always love The Shark is Still Working more. For myself personally, seeing Jaws at a young age started my love for more of a dip into the horror genre more. And my love for Spielberg just like everybody else. I don't really see what else I can really add personally to a movie that is celebrating its 50th anniversary that has been cherished for such a long time. I wish I had a time machine to really experience this movie during the release with a full house, just to hear people's reactions.
Jaws is just a perfect movie. What more can I really say about it that no one else has really said? I just think it's this overwhelmingly good movie that I think will continue to scare people 50 years down the line. It's celebrating 50 years, and that's incredible that it still manages to scare people to this day.
You are going to ignore this particular problem until it swims up and bites you on the...